Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 563.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
On hold to set up utilities for my... Oh, got it. So David Harrison is saying that he was on hold to set up utilities for his first unit, and the music... and this music was way better. Yes, we do our best. That's pretty funny. Not that, I'm with you. Hold music is never fun. I don't care whose it is. I don't know. I don't think they try to make it bad. They just do. They just do. So completely understood, David. All right. I'm looking for any other questions because we're also going to, one of the other things, as I said in the post, I don't know if you saw the post, then you understand where I'm coming from. I get the question a lot, how long does it take to start, all this types of stuff. And obviously in our student group, we have a number of students who have started, who have answered that question for themselves. And I also know that there's a lot of you who still have that question, and you're wondering, what is that going to look like for me? So we're definitely going to talk about that today, regardless of what other questions come in as well. All right, let me see. What is this? Brian says, hello. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Let's see, dope background in your room. Thank you. We are constantly, always working to make things bigger, better, badder. I can't wait to show you guys the rest of the room over there. Myrna does. Oh, interesting. All right, so Myrna has a question. She's simply asking, does Airbnb work the same globally? There are so many facets to that question. I almost wish you had called in because I have questions about your question in order to actually answer it. But this is what I can say. The premise, the idea is the same. I don't know what part, when you say function the same, are you talking about obviously the accounting functions aren't exactly the same because you've got currency issues and payment issues. Obviously, there are different laws in each jurisdiction across the globe. We do have students in places, and obviously in Africa and in Switzerland, Poland. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but a whole bunch of places all across the globe. South America, definitely. Canada, North America. I've helped them through all kinds of different situations. But in general, the premise is the same. You have a way to offer a place for someone to stay in exchange for a fee. But I'm not exactly sure if there's more to it. I feel like there's more to your question than I can actually understand at this particular moment in time. So we do have a person who has just called in. So let's bring him. I believe it's a him. Let me stop that. And we will get right to I believe it's Henry in South Carolina. Henry, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jay.
Go ahead, Henry. I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, my question is, I've got 12 units. I go by Frank also. That might be throwing you off. But I got 12 units in a brand new building rented in Charleston, South Carolina. Great walk score, right in the middle of 4 hospitals. So my problem is I've gotten to the regional manager, and she wants her attorney to talk to an attorney that knows short-term rentals and convince her attorney that the camera on the doorbell is not illegal.
Oh, okay, got it. So is the concern is about a privacy issue? Is that really what we're talking about?
Privacy issue on the doorbell on her property that I'm renting.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you for helping me understand. So now, all right. So now I have a couple of questions. And you said I could also call you Frank. And Frank, you sound like you're a student already. Is that accurate? Because I just want to have context.
I am a student. I am a student.
Yeah, there were things that you said that made me think. I'm like, he's already, because you're saying the right words and the language was correct. I was like, oh, okay, this is good. First of all,
now my first unit is at Myrtle Beach and it's closing Friday. But this is, you told me to keep going until I got 20, so I'm working on that.
You know what? I love it when you keep it simple. You're like, he said 20. I'm not at 20, so I'm going to keep going, and then we'll go from there. This is good. This is good. First of all, are you the Dorian? Did you have any effects there? Are you guys okay?
That's why I haven't closed the one at Myrtle Beach. It was put off for a couple of weeks, but that's supposed to happen Friday, so that'll be my first unit.
Okay, got it. I'm glad to hear that you're safe and that things, work themselves out as they often do. Now,
and see, I've got an attorney, but he don't know anything about short-term rentals. What I was hoping was that you could suggest somebody that could talk of short-term rentals and convince this attorney that it's okay.
Yeah, totally understood. And this is where we are. So if I understand the situation correctly, you said there was 12 units now inside this building. Is it all 12 of the units, or is there something else?
No, it's going to be 5 buildings with 125 units per building, and this is only building 1. See, this thing could really grow in the big time once I get in there and prove to them that everything's legit. Done talking about the lease. It's going to be 15 years. We've agreed on everything, but I can't convince her. She wants an attorney to convince her attorney. That's the only thing left.
Got it. So, all right. So ultimately what we have here, and I am not as familiar, say, with South Carolina civil code as much as I would be California civil code. So I'm going to use California civil code to reference what you need to do or what you can do in order to assist this landlord or person that you're referring to help them with the situation. At the end of the day, what it comes down to when we're using the doorbell cameras, let me ask a couple more questions. On this building, is it internal hallways or do they all face? Let me see. I might be able to. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna pull up my screen here for you, and what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna draw on there as soon as I can remember the drawing app I'm supposed to use to do that. Got it. Let's see. Is this it? Yeah. All right. So
the door is inside the building. There's no doors outside.
The door is inside the building. Okay. So. When you say, all right, so here, okay, let me be more specific. Here's what I'm asking. Is the building shaped like so, where you have, like, is it a U-shaped building? Is it a rectangular shaped building? With entrances?
Rectangular.
Okay. So if it's a rectangular shaped building, like what you're seeing right now, then are the doors facing out like so? Or are the doors all internal facing each other like so?
Okay. This particular unit, the doors go all the way down one hall, and it's just a hall. There's no doors looking across the hall. It's a blank wall. And they go all the way down the hall.
So there's only doors on one side of the hall?
One side of the hall, yes, sir.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, I've never encountered this question in that particular setup. Okay, so that all right, good. So all right,
Now
then,
they have cameras on the hall, but they're concerned about my camera.
Yeah, and okay, so this is why I'm somewhat confused, because they have cameras on the hall, because the hall there is no expectation in the California law. It's written as, if it's a space where there would be an expectation of privacy, which obviously the hall is not, then there's literally no issue. There's not a privacy violation in any way, shape, or form as it pertains to the civil code. And what I would do is I would, again, look up the corresponding code for South Carolina, so that you could then either go to an attorney and explain it to that person, and then have that attorney talk to whomever her attorney is, or a different landlord-tenant attorney, because ultimately you're only putting them in a private or in a public space, not any of the private spaces.
Gotcha.
That's what we would.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? I understand their concern, and use the civil code to your defense, because it's for the same reason that they can put the security cameras in the hallway. All you're doing is adding, for all intents and purposes, another camera coming at a different angle. And the reason I was talking about the shape and how the hallways were structured previously was because my concern was you had hallway doors facing each other, which sometimes can become a challenge for a landlord. But if you don't have that, if you don't even have that going on, there's like nothing. There's literally nothing in your way, because it's not like, because when you have offsetting doors, what happens is that one camera could potentially look into the other unit when the door is open. That is a potential, but again, not guaranteed. But you're saying there's only doors on one side of the hallway, so there should be no issue, and it should just.
Now that wall on the opposite my door is the back wall of another unit. So there's another hall. If you go all the way to the other side of the building, there's another hall with the doors facing the same direction as my door, but it's two different hallways.
These aren't cameras with X-ray vision or heat. They're not thermal or anything. So you should be completely, you don't have the issue I thought you might have had. So if that's what we're talking about, again, every time it's come up, I always show the manager, the landlord, whomever, the California code, so that they can understand this is what it is. So long as we don't put them in a space where there's an expectation of privacy, you're pretty much good. And that's how it's done in California. And as we all know, the laws out here are typically worse than anywhere else.
I don't know. We're getting worse in South Carolina now. There's no doubt about that.
But this is not something you should be aiming for, but I hear you.
Okay, good deal. I'm really excited because the floor plans are the same. And the only reason I'm not doing 12 at one time is they've got more fixing to be finished with the same floor plan. I'm going to do the same floor plan, as many as they'll let me do, because that is such a great location.
Yeah, no, totally understood. Once you find your locations, you should totally double down, triple down, get as many as you possibly can, because it absolutely makes, it makes sense to me. So, because no sense in doing the work.
And Vivint's done said, and I've done talked to Vivint. They are 99% sure. See, they use the fog to open up the garage, and then the same fog opens up the door. But Vivint's almost certain that they can they can replace with our app, their app, and open everything up without getting them involved with the fog or anything. So they are sure that that's going to happen.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. Obviously, we have a number of units. We've worked with them for sure. And again, just make sure that you're using all the discount codes that we qualify for. I'm sure you have. I don't know if you've talked to my wife or who's out in Charlotte. Who am I thinking? Crystal. Sorry, took me a second. She's in the group. If you don't have one, she could definitely make sure that you get one too.
Okay, good deal. Good information. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to learn more from you because I am impressed.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're taking it on. I definitely appreciate you trusting us with that, and let's just keep going together.
Okay, good deal. Thanks, Jack.
All right, no problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and that's pretty much how our Q&As work. What we do is I keep answering your questions as they either get typed at me, or preferably when we can talk, I can get deeper into understanding your question, making sure that we actually get what you're asking answered, because that's usually, or that can sometimes be the biggest challenge at the end of the day. So questions obviously around real estate business, specifically short-term rentals, because that's where we spend the majority of our time, are definitely appreciated. Let's see what we've got in some of the Facebook group right now. I see a lot of people, but I'm having trouble getting to the questions. What is this? Laura Redmond Brown says, just getting started. I have some units planned to talk to Saturday after your training. Yes. For those of you who have recently started with us, hopefully you have already received your invitation. But for those that are new mastermind students, you get invited to a training that we do once a month. And I sit down with you for about 6 hours to make sure that you get started going in the correct direction so that, you can just go out there and build the business that you're looking for. I believe that's what Laura is referring to, and look forward to seeing you there. So that'd be great. David says he's looking forward to today's live stream. Well, we are definitely here, and I'm trying to get to more of your questions. Please have them come up, somebody. Could someone tell Facebook to make this easier for me? Anybody, please? Well, in the meantime, let's go over here. Remember, if you want, you can call in 417-352-2274. And while I continue to try to find the other questions that are on Facebook right now, I'm also going to talk to you about getting started and what that looks like. Meaning, people ask me all the time, like, how long does it take, and what is that, when am I going to get like my first guest, all these types of things. And there's so many of those questions that are hard to answer because they depend. For example, some of our students, like in our Denver locations, Denver and the Denver metro area, are what is known as it's a 30-day market where you can still do short-term rental, but it's a 30-day minimum. So that looks different for them, how long it takes to do all the things. Not every market is that way. Our students in the New York areas, they're in a completely different, it's not impossible, but it's also different. But for most people, for most of you watching this, regardless of the country that you're watching this from at this moment, it doesn't actually take that long. And I know for ourselves, and what we tend to focus on is helping individuals learn how to negotiate a lease, or 2 or 12, and then be able to have the right to host in our case, we like business travelers, we like families traveling with small kids, and we like medical travelers in a particular location. So like, for example, in the training on Saturday for all of our new students, what we're going to be doing is we're going to spend a lot of time making sure that they know how to select the absolute best properties for them, period, in their jurisdiction, so that they can earn the most money, have the most profit, least amount of trouble, all that type of stuff. And then from there, you're able to develop your systems so that your business continually grows. So it's, so with that being said, we've had, I can remember when we first started teaching individuals this, we had an individual who told us that it only had taken her 3 days. She literally bought it over the weekend, started listening to the materials, started doing what was said, and by that Tuesday, by literally that Tuesday, she came to her first Q&A saying that, yeah, she got 3 leases, and it totally freaked me out. Now, I can't say that that's normal or standard, but I can say that having had the privilege of teaching a lot of different individuals across the globe, various real estate strategies, this has been the one that has allowed people to learn the most, the fastest, and profit the quickest, period. So I'm pretty excited about that. And that's why we continue to support all of our students with Q&As very similar to this, like right now. All right. Let me see. operations. So, okay. So Myrna, I guess, got it. Now I see what she's saying. So what Myrna was referring to, she was asking, does, Airbnb work the same globally in terms of operations? So, for the most part, yes, it is commonly done to where that there's especially when you're operating at scale, there's going to be your cleaning crews and the people who come in to help you, turn over and to do your facilities maintenance, etc. Now, there are some countries where the compensation for those individuals and how that part of your business is structured is different because they just have different labor laws. So functionally the business is the same, but structurally the entities that are used, how the individuals are compensated, etc., that is going to change on a country by country basis. But somebody's always got to clean it. Someone is going to repair anything that gets broken. And depending on the country that we're talking about, like we'll take Thailand kind of comes to mind here because the labor rates relative to a U.S. labor rate are so different. You can often, in some cases, provide exceptionally better service simply because more humans can be involved. And one of the unique things that many individuals don't necessarily consider when it comes to this business model is I kind of think of it like we're an import-export business, if you will, because what we end up exporting is the experience of having, in my case, come to America, in other people's cases, whatever your country is. And you're bringing the income and the influence and the currency from outside of your region into that region. And there's often a favorable exchange rate, so if you travel to a place that has a favorable exchange rate, obviously, that can work to your favor, which is why, like I said, countries like Thailand or even the Philippines comes to mind because the exchange rates between our currencies are currently, they are what they are. As well as the standards of what is considered, quality of life, et cetera. So you have a number of those things when you're looking at it from a business standpoint to look at, because you can possibly provide better service, have more extra services beyond the room rate, et cetera, in order to make that happen. So.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and I'm glad that you are enjoying what you are hearing thus far. But here's one of the things that's really important. One of the most important things that you can do is get started. One of the things that I've said before, and I say again, once you get started, stay started. But more importantly, there can be lots of roadblocks to getting started. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove one of those roadblocks for you and make it a little bit easier. Because the thing that I don't want to stop you is thinking, do I need a local number? How about a long distance number? Or should it be 800? How on earth am I going to make that happen so that people can contact me as I'm out there building my business, making my cash flow grow? But most importantly, understanding that it doesn't have to be difficult. Many of you may know, but if you don't, there's a company out there by the name of Grasshopper. And what I want you to do is I want you to go over to trygrasshopper.com/cashflow diary. Grasshopper is the entrepreneur's phone system. It works like a traditional phone system, but requires no hardware to purchase, no software to install. It's just a number that flat works. So if you are out there building that distributed workforce across many different locations, it's a way for you to still go out there and make your number be unified, simple, easy to use, something we've been using for quite some time. So again, go over to trygrasshopper.com/cashflow diary. Now, let's get back to the rest of the story.
Let me see. Robin, what is this? It says, we are in a situation where our doorbell camera can look into another unit. What do I need to be concerned about? Oh, got it. So you're referring to what I was talking about previously then. So when you want, well, let me see. That didn't work. So what I was referring to previously, now it depends here from a privacy standpoint. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to go there and there. This is what I am specifically referring to. So let's pretend, so right now, this is, let me make this a little bit thicker. We're going to go with the black. So here's your hallway, right? You got your hallway, 1, 2. And then now we've got the doors. So we're going to say this red door, that's your unit. And I'm hoping that this blue door, when you say it's facing, what I'm hoping is that it is not that kind of direct. What I'm hoping specifically is that it's not this, but where the doors are offset. If the doors are offset, there's not much to be concerned with, etc., or to worry yourselves about. But if the door isn't as offset as this, then someone could make us think. I've not had that happen, if I'm being transparent and honest. I've not had anyone say, like, that's going to be an issue for them in some way, shape, or form. But typically, when I'm going through my unit selection, I'm actually looking for ways to avoid this very situation that like this right here. This is exactly what I don't want. And I'm picking units to avoid that. So if I end up in this situation, I've requested other units. I've just not taken the unit. I just went to a different one and told them, because I just don't want to come close to there being any sort of an issue. Now, truth be told, I've not had anyone mention anything whatsoever. So again, I'm not expecting it to come up for you. I'm not expecting it to become an issue in any way, shape, or form. But if it is, it is a potential, because there is that brief moment when the other door is open where the camera can actually see in. Now, they would have to literally intentionally leave the door open. I mean, it's not like the camera's hidden. It's not like they don't know. So we tend to always have the stickers and the notifications so that people know that they're there. So it's not been an issue. That doesn't mean someone couldn't make it an issue at some point in the future. But hopefully that'll be something you won't ever have to deal with. But again, we're talking about people here. So, Ty, can you talk about your process of finding and training cleaners? Ooh, Ty, that's, I can, and I will. Give me 1 second, man. So he brings up a good point. He brings up, why are you bringing this to me? Okay, now take it back. Thank you. All right, so I forgot which camera, this one, got it. So the process of finding and cleaners. So you're bringing up something that's huge. That's because there's finding cleaners, getting the right cleaners. Yeah. I've been through a number of different cleaning companies, and here's how I think people should find them. It's not so much about interviewing as much as it is auditioning. All right. So here's one way to find a cleaner. All right. So here's probably the most ninja way I can think of to find a cleaner. What I'm going to tell you to do is that I want you to go make a reservation at a short-term rental in your area that is not run by you. Then, when checkout occurs, don't leave until the cleaners show up. Now, it's a little aggressive, I get you, and at the same time, you will have found a cleaner. Would you have not? A more gentle way of doing this exact same thing would be you could go to hire a cleaning service to audition them. So go to your handys.com, and probably the most reliable place, keywords here, reliable place, is to find a cleaner, in my opinion, across the globe, is an organization known as BNI, Business Networking International. Here's why. Because that organization, BNI, is referral based, meaning any individual who operates inside the structure of BNI understands that referrals and the quality of their service, that's going to determine their ability to be profitable with that organization. Meaning, it's a extra level of accountability. One of the things that's hard to find is reliability. You need a person who shows up on time, all the time, every time. So if you hire any cleaning crew to come to your house, do they show up on time? And then, Ty, no offense, but here's what I know to be true. For most men, myself included, we don't know what clean looks like. So if you're a bachelor right now and you're trying to do this business, do me a favor. Hire somebody to clean your house. Make sure they show up on time. Find a female friend and ask her, please, hey, did they do a good job? And when she says, yes, they did a good job, then it's actually clean and you'll know. But you, as I've told many people, you're going to kiss a few frogs before you find your prince or princess who actually becomes the cleaning crew that you can begin to build around. I will also say that this is easier when you have multiple units. It's easier because you're able to offer more work. It's harder when you only have one unit or two units to find that reliable person who can come during your windows. But I'm with you 100%. All right, let me see if anyone else called in. I'm going to look at where's that? All right, and call in number. Let me see what else we got. David J, I have leads with real estate broker, about 50 per month. These are folks looking to move to Medford, Oregon area, but need short-term rental housing to house hunt. Yeah, exactly. I want to leverage those numbers and partner with owners of furniture stores and appliance stores. How do you recommend I leverage the leads and have my first unit as advertising opportunity for them when the guest stays in my unit? It could be cool to have my unit furnished by them as advertising for them. They also have interior designers. Yeah, David, you're 100% right, and you're good to recognize that there is some synergy with other local businesses as well. 100%. I am with you, and in order to do that, it's nothing more complicated than going to the furniture store and telling them who it is you are and what you do. Now, here's the challenge. I don't know how many units you have, but let's just say if you can make the case that says, yeah, we have about 500 people who stay at our location every month. That's different than saying, yeah, we get about 10, 15 people a month who stay with us, because there's a different level of opportunity, right? So what it comes down to is that any furniture store, anytime you can help any business lower their customer acquisition costs, which is really what you're saying. You're like, hey, if we work together, I can help you lower your customer acquisition costs. Would that be worth something to you? And the answer is yes, it's worth something. But you have to be able to prove numbers that can, do exactly that, send them customers. So I don't know how you get around that part at the beginning, or depending on, and it's always contingent on how many reservations and people that you're hosting anyway. So hopefully you have enough of those and we can make that work. All right. I was like, where'd my camera go? Or my questions. Here we go. Mariella, what's up? We are in a process to start our third unit. Yes, that gets me excited. For what I remember on class in February, that's right, is the slow month. Do you recommend to wait, or is now a good time? Oh, got it. So this is, okay, I see where you're going with this one, Mariella. This is also a question I get a fair amount, is when, quote unquote, is the good time to start a unit? And the answer is it's always a good time. And I'm not just saying that. And again, it's not like I make any money if you start a unit, what month you start a unit, and that has nothing to do with that. But I can tell you, here's why. First of all, for most of you, and again, assuming, unless you're in a hyper-seasonal market. When I say hyper-seasonal, I'm saying things like you're probably near a ski resort, or, you maybe, snowbirds, that type of thing. But for most people, that's not their reality. So there are reasons you do both, meaning your high season and or low season to start a unit. When you're starting a unit and you're entering into the low season, here's what you must understand. What you're really doing is you're building that profile so that in the high season, you'll have enough reviews to actually maximize as much of that earning potential as humanly possible. Okay. However, the trade-off is you may need to just understand that your low season is going to be really low because you have no reviews and it's a new unit. Now, here's the also opposite of that, meaning that if you start in the high season, you have a potential to, you won't earn as much, but when you transition into low season, it also won't be as low simply because, again, you have those reviews. So reviews, this business is a very, very review-driven business, and each listing matters, and each review matters, each star matters. All of those things matter. So there's not really necessarily a quote-unquote good time, bad season, so to speak, as much as there is a time of the month. And as you know, I prefer to start units between the 22nd and the 25th of the month for all of the economic reasons I've explained many, 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 many times. And so long as you do that, that's usually going to be a greater predictor of your stress levels than what time of the month. Now, if you are starting a unit, I can tell you a couple of things. When you're starting units near a holiday season, because I've done this, when you're starting near a Black Friday, when you're starting near Christmas, when you're starting near a 4th of July, or anytime retail stores consider it an excuse to put specifically televisions, mattresses, etc. on sale, understand that those things that are associated with televisions, mattresses, etc. also go on sale and often can be in short supply. So if you are going to do, the TV thing, you probably want to make sure that you have your television mounts ahead of time. That's really what I'm thinking about right now. So if you've got that down, you're pretty good. But yeah, no, go get the units because in a year-round market, which most people are, what's going to happen is you're going to experience a November anyway. You're going to experience an October anyway. So might as well go ahead and get that out of the way because there is another advantage to starting in the low season is you usually can focus and get the units up faster simply because it's like, okay, cool. It's low season. You won't be as busy or preoccupied with other things. And long as it's never a bad time to add more cash flow to the bottom line. So hopefully that helps and explains it as well. Let me see. We have a caller. Hold on one second. Let me switch. Hold on. Oh, no, I'm still playing the music. 1 second. Music is off, and I believe I'm now talking to Robin. How are you?
Hey, Jay, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Can you hear me? Good.
I can.
Good. Hey, so you already answered one of my questions. I saw you finally found it on the Facebook group about the cameras, and unfortunately, I didn't even think about it, and I'm on that situation where we're of that direct, like we're looking directly into the other door, and so I have
one building like that. Now, who do you have control of the unit that is looking directly into?
No, I don't. I have above it and below it, but I'm not directly into the other unit.
Okay. First of all, the next unit I would go for is that one. Does that make sense?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if no one has, now do you have, sometimes when you're putting the camera out there or when the camera came, the install guy puts a sticker on there. Did that happen?
Well, I haven't had the camera actually installed yet. Like we have a lease and our money comes in this week sometime. As soon as money hits, we're going to get the install in. So we haven't installed the camera yet, but we signed the lease and we're ready to go.
Got it. Oh, hold on. Have you moved in yet?
No, we haven't moved in yet.
Then the simplest answer is to choose a different unit, is it not?
We could. Well, I have 3 units that do this. That are on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor that all look in there. So I guess could I go and ask them to transfer units? To say, hey, can we change our lease to a different one?
Absolutely.
But I think they're all, for this complex, I think they're all going to have the same situation. The same.
I've totally understood. And what I'm saying is now what you do is you get an even number of units and you control both sides of the hallway.
Yeah.
Because the person who's have an issue with it the most is a traditional tenant.
Yes. Well, they don't know that we're going to be there yet. The traditional tenant doesn't know we're there yet. Does that make sense?
Oh, they'll
we
know.
just barely acquired them. They'll know soon. But
They'll know. Yeah, what I'm saying is they will know. And because they will know, if you can control both sides of the hallway, that's just going to remove the challenge, period.
Yeah.
It's just going to remove it. Plus, what's really cool, oftentimes, because I have a building like this in Long Beach where they're all the same, but we control both sides. And what ends up happening is, say, for example, someone's going into your unit, we can also capture another angle of that exact same incident happening. Because I love it when people, because what this gets funny sometimes. What happens is that, you know how people try to obstruct the camera to say that, no one, it was just me. Well, I have another camera on the other side of the hallway that showed you, A, blocking the camera intentionally, and then B, 3 more people going in. So it actually ends up becoming a very, it helps you control and manage situations like that more.
Yeah. And so you suggest we try to go transfer our lease to a different unit because we've already signed the leases on these 3 units.
100%. Yeah, if you haven't moved in yet, that's if you can either transfer the lease transfer so that you can control both sides of the hallway. That's all I'm really saying.
Okay.
Control both sides of the hallway.
I know I can't. I know the other ones are traditional tenants right now, and I can't. They're not available right now on the other side of the hall. Like, none of those are available right now. And so I just need to go maybe there might be a different building I could move into in the same complex that I could maybe do that with, as I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's fine. Anything is better than, I'm telling you, at some point, this is going to be, it has the potential to become an issue. So instead of rolling the dice, I'm saying address it now so that it's just never an issue and you can continue to build your business long-term and in peace. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. My second question is because we already have one going and we're adding 4 units, maybe another 6 another 6 units. Like, we just got funding for an additional 2 more units. And so, so we started making a home away site, a home away listing. And what's the best way to sync our calendars so we don't have to go manually block them on the different sites? Does that make sense?
100%. And I think I know what's going on here. You got excited. You couldn't be quiet. And then all of a sudden people with money started showing up, didn't they?
Well, not exactly. We signed paperwork to get money to do the first 5 units. And we signed papers back in July, and it came to August 1st when they were supposed to pay out, and they never paid out. They're like, sorry, the money never showed up. And so then we've been scrambling, trying to raise capital in lots of different places, saying, hey, we signed. And so we made a bunch of commitments, and so we've been out actively searching for capital to try to make up for this money that never came through that we already signed papers for and they signed papers for. So we're in a weird situation.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you found it, and here's where I'm getting to be concerned because I'm starting to hear cracks. Those cracks are related to growing a little too fast because you're saying you have 1 unit in operation right now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to add how many more right now?
Well, we're trying to add 4 more right now with the potential of 2 more after that. So
okay.
If all the funding comes in, we can add the extra 2. But
every day, how many units would you have added? 6?
Right now, 5, potentially have up to 7.
Yeah, okay. And that's what this is exactly my concern. Because the systems that you have to have on board change as you grow. And and the first significant number where that change occurs is 5. part of the reason you're having the challenge that you're having with HomeAway is because you're not yet at 5.
Okay.
Now, so what? Let me ask, are you using Smart B&B?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a good start. All right. All right. So here's what's going through my head. There's a way to use Smart B&B. It's in I know it's in the training. It's in the mastermind, or John Williams could probably help you set it up to make sure. But there's a sync feature that they came out with, which should allow your calendars to stay in sync so that you don't have some sort of a double booking. You should never be doing it manually because it's just too complicated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we don't want to do it manually. We just don't know. But so Smart B&B has a calendar feature in there to sync calendars?
There is, and it's not going to be your long-term solution right now. Ultimately, you need to also have Logify working because you're going to have...
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, and that's... So what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to help you through the challenge, but also say at the same time, you got to have all of this in place in order to be successful at not having what you're talking about happen. And that's going to be hard to do considering you've never done it, and you can't solely focus on it because you're also building 4 more, 5 more units simultaneously. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, the holidays are coming, so have fun with that.
Yeah.
I'm half messing with you, but I get it, because I did the same thing. So I'm just telling you what's there. Keep your questions in the Facebook group, please. We'll be there to support you, but I'm telling you, you're in for a rough ride because that's hard to do. What you're asking to do, you're asking to bring a significant number of units on. And it's not that it's bringing them on is hard. It's that you've never done that many units simultaneously at once and integrated them. You're not even just integrating them into a system. You're also building that system that you have never built before simultaneously to operate across multiple platforms, which also means all of your SOPs, not only for your cleaning crew, but for your facilities maintenance, probably aren't as built out as we've designed in the mastermind yet either. So you remember inside the mastermind, I showed you the dashboard where it has the list of how to build a process and what you need to be going through. You need to be on top of it like yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Not to overwhelm you, but I'm just shooting you straight because.
No, that's why I called in. Like, I've been trying to when we're adding somebody, my husband quit his job, so I need to have some sort of income. So we're kind of going full board right now. So. Got it.
Now I understand. Now it all just clicked and made sense.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, like that's the only reason why we're doing full board. We want to list it as many places as possible because I'd like an income. So that's why we're going a little bit
good.
crazy. I've
gotten used to it too. I completely understand. You have 14-hour days in your future for at least 30 days.
Oh, absolutely. We've been going crazy. So, okay. Well, thanks so much for your time, Jay.
No problem. That's what we do. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, this is pretty much how we operate around here, trying to just help as many people as humanly possible. I see another call. I will get to you in just a second. I want to make sure, though, that I don't have any. Okay, I don't see any more questions in the Facebook group at the moment. And let's see, who do we have here? Looks like I am now talking to Shelly in Colorado, or you're buying property in Colorado?
No, I'm in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Hi,
how are you?
I'm great.
Good.
So I live in Boulder, Denver area where the 30-day plus is the best strategy. But I have an opportunity to get a property up in the mountains in ski country, USA. So it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, $2,000 a month. And I mentioned it to the neighbor who's a real estate agent, and he, shot it down. You're not going to get $24,000 a year to cash flow on that property. So now I'm freaked out a little because it would be my first property, and it is an hour and a half away from where I live, but it's where I used to live, and I know people there. I have contractors and cleaners and all the people that I would need, and I just would like to hear your comments about that as my first place in an area where there's definite high and low seasons. As soon as skiing ends, April 15th, it gets quiet till June 1st, and then again in October and November, it's pretty quiet until skiing starts again.
Okay, hold on. Say the seasons for me. You said it's April 15th to June 1st is quiet.
To June 1st, and then October through November into early December or even mid-December. So December 15th would probably be when it really picks up again.
So October 1 to December 15 is what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so that's 75, 24. So you've got 275 days. So you have 150 days a year is what you're saying, or so, where you are assuming it's going to be dead. Totally understood. Got it. And you've talked with, you said a realtor?
Yeah, a real estate agent who doesn't have any short-term rentals, but he has been there for like 5 years learning the system of the mountains. So he's got some clue, but he also isn't learning from you and learning the professional way to do it. So I don't want to just believe his point of view and go, oh, I can't do that, when in fact maybe I can, because he doesn't know we have the other ways of charging for late and for this and for that, and, you know, upgrading ourselves.
Okay, you said how much experience do you have running the short-term rental model?
How much do I?
No, him, the realtor, this
none.
person.
He has none. He doesn't own any short-term rentals or have any short-term rentals.
Does he operate short-term rentals on behalf of customers?
No, he does not.
Okay, got it. So, Shelley, can I ask you a question, but also answer your question by asking you a question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, not to be overly dramatic, but let me ask you this. Let's pretend for a moment that you had cancer. Just for a moment. And now what you do is you decide that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go talk to an airline pilot for his opinion on what I should do about cancer. Does that make sense?
Thank you. I got the answer. Thank you.
There you go. So, now, that's not to say he can't provide some value. He has a perspective, and that perspective is built on something. There's a reason he's saying that, okay? So it's at least worth the conversation to figure out why do you say that? Where are you getting that number from? What are you basing that on? Because there's something there that he knows that prompted him or her to say this. I don't know what it is, and right now you don't know what it is. But knowing it is better than not knowing it and having to discover it. So I would want to find that out. Now, with that being said, because again, from what I can remember of the Colorado stuff that that students have asked me to look at, that 30-day restriction tends to not apply. I forgot the name. There's a type of zoning you guys have out there that I was like, wow, that's unique, and that must be a Colorado thing, because you have so much open land and all this other stuff. I don't know if the property that you're referring to is zoned that way or not, because if it is, then you may not have to worry about the 30-day thing.
Yes, it's in an area in the resort areas of the mountains where they're skiing, and they have very excellent rules, and you just go pay the $75 and get the permit to do as many short-term days as you want.
Then you understand exactly where I was going, and I am now relieved and feeling so much better. So perfect. So yeah, no, what it comes down to though, here's what I would focus on if I were you. I would really nail down. So module 1 of the mastermind, this is your homework. If you say I did that already, cool. You're going to do it again, and you're going to nail down no less than 3 target markets that you are trying to attract there. Because yes, I get that there's, would you say skiing? I am not a ski person personally. Yeah. I've never done it. But clearly lots of people like it. So the question is, since that's clearly one type of person that you know is coming, my question becomes, who else is coming? For example, when people ask me about areas like Palm Springs is ungodly hot, okay? But there are certain individuals who that heat and for example, that condition actually works out very well. Like if a professional athlete, sometimes tennis, or golf for that matter, wants a quiet place, quote unquote, to practice, to train, to do certain things, it can work out for them very, very well. And it becomes a completely different type of market or a demographic that you're serving. I would begin to look for that because I don't know what or who that is there. My suspicion, though, is that there is that there. And I would find, like I said, at least 3 because I would put money on not only can you do better than the 24,000, but you'll probably be able to recoup a lot of those down, what you're currently considering to be down days, if you focus on some of the other demographics or choosing other types of people to serve.
Fantastic.
Cool. Yeah. So you good?
That's great. Yeah. That's
excellent.
Exactly what I was thinking, and I appreciate hearing it from you.
Thank you. Well, I just try to have a little bit more experience than the average realtor with what I do before I say anything about anything. So don't ask me about cancer because I don't know anything about what to do about it because I'm not qualified there.
Well, and because it's my first one, I think I'm just extra super hesitant, and I just want to be so freaking smart and have it all figured out in advance and all of that. So I'm just really going slow and like a turtle getting into this whole business. And so.
Cool. But have you ever heard the phrase? Have you ever heard the phrase that no battle plan survives first contact with the enemy?
No, I haven't, but that's a good one.
And my point is simply, I don't care how much you put on paper, how long you spend investing, thinking, okay, now I'm ready. You ain't. I mean, I know that was true, and I find this to also be true for like every parent on the planet. I don't care how prepared you think you are. Those children, they don't come with no instruction manual, and it ain't like on TV ever. so it is what it is. What I would be more encouraged to hear you begin to develop that muscle whereby you just learn to become comfortable, uncomfortable, and uncertain. You don't know, but you'll figure it out. Develop the confidence that, you know what, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And have that be okay, because you're going to spend a lot of time in that space of, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And one of the reasons I say that is because every time you open up a new location in a new geographic area, every day that you're there is a new day, meaning you haven't experienced a September, an October, a November, a December, a January. You've got to experience each of the 12 months because each of the 12 months are going to be different. And until you start to repeat that cycle at the exact same location, it's not going to be that you're not going to be able to feel that comfortable yet, and you just got to get comfortable with that because that's part of the process. But again, that's why, you've got the Facebook group. Obviously, we have these Q&As. That's why we do what we do, so that you can continue to push forward. And the only other way to make that go away faster, and you're not going to like this, is instead of getting 1, is to get 10.
Okay.
I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes the riskiest position in a portfolio is when you only have 1 of something. Sometimes in order to make a portfolio safer, what you need to do is add risk. I know it sounds crazy, but it's there. Yeah. And I'm sure I can almost hear you hyperventilating through the phone right now, but it's all good.
I stopped breathing. I just stopped breathing altogether.
I believe you. I believe you, and it's okay. And there are hundreds of students in the Facebook group. We got you, girl. Go. You can do this.
Well, and at the same time, Jay, I stopped breathing, and the joy started to bubble up. Like, oh my God, that he's right. Like I can feel the happiness of what you're saying. Of like, do I have the guts? Right? Can I get that courage up?
That's a good question. We're going to find out.
Yes, we will.
We're going to find out. I mean, a lot of people want to have it. A lot of people want to have the results, but this is where the rubber meets the road. I mean, you've got to learn to confront those emotions. And just because those emotions are present doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means those emotions are present. Now, what's necessary is to train yourself to respond differently to those same emotions. I still get afraid, but I just have a different response to that fear. I get tired. I just have a different response to that fear. I get frustrated. I just have a different response to that fear because that's what's required in order to build the organization, in order to lead the team, in order to provide the service, in order to serve people, and ultimately to live what I consider to be my purpose. So that's just part of it. And it's okay. It's completely normal. So don't start thinking, please, let me caution you from thinking, I'm feeling all of these things, therefore that must mean I am not ready yet, or I must go learn more, or something. No, it's just those emotions are there. That's external stimulus. Train yourself to respond differently to that external stimulus, and you'll begin to see different results.
That's fantastic. Thank you so very much.
You are quite welcome. Go crush it. I can't wait to see the report in the Facebook group. Thanks. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Bye.
No problem. All right, we've got time for a few more questions. I see one more caller already here. Let me check the Facebook group. Why is it? Oh, come on now. Don't do this again. I just got it working. Or at least I thought I had it working. All right, what's this? I see lots of comments. There it is. Ben says, just loaded Logify. How do I edit nightly rates? Ben, okay, so if you're talking about the nightly rates specifically for your website, you're just going to do that directly. There's a rates section that's there. I assume that's the only thing you could be talking about because everything else should be connected through your pricing manager, whatever you're using to manage your pricing that is external to Logify. April, how soon should you start your own corporation? 1 unit, 2, do you recommend a credit card to get the most business benefits? This is a very interesting question, April. First, let's be very clear. I am nobody's attorney, never have been, not trying to be. So technically, because kind of what you're asking is a legal / asset protection question. However, as a general rule of thumb and practice, I have always said from unit number 1, you want to do your lease in the name of some entity, okay? But you specifically said corporation, which also you can make an assumption of what legal structure. I'm just going to tell you to talk to your attorney, and he or she will help you with that. Do I recommend a credit card to get the most benefits? Most business benefits. That's an interesting question. I'm not quite sure what a credit card has to necessarily do with business benefits because the two are not necessarily connected. It's not like if I use a credit card, I get some sort of benefit that I couldn't have gotten anyway from being in business. So that really, that's interesting to me. Now, if you have one of these credit cards that has like points and all this other stuff, absolutely, girlfriend, knock yourself out. In fact, if you scroll back through the Facebook group, a couple weeks ago, I did a small little thing on Amazon Business because they provide some extra financing and terms and things of that nature that you might actually want to take advantage of for businesses, which I thought were very, very great. But yeah, anytime you can get the points and stuff, it's great. I will tell you this, though, and it's still backwards, which makes no sense to me, is that the only time that usually hasn't applied is with Best Buy because for whatever reason, their business program doesn't have better pricing in most cases than their consumer program. And on the business program, you don't even get any of their rewards points. So it's like, man, that doesn't even, like, why would I do that? Anyway, so in that case, we still, for all intents and purposes, use our standard consumer information, which unfortunately sometimes, depending on the retailer, can get you into quantity limitations, meaning like it's hard sometimes for me to go to Best Buy and say, I'd like to buy 20 TVs because they look at you kind of weird. Like, are you trying to resell these? No, I just need 20 TVs, and you have to explain it. But so what I'm saying to you is just understand that that's part of it. All right, let me get through some more of these real fast. How active is Booking.com on your platforms? I used to get bookings from there last year, and this year I haven't gotten one single booking from that platform. I'm not complaining. That platform always caused headaches. Got it. Anyway, I'm just curious if the drop in bookings is unique to my area. Got it. Timby, before I go blaming a platform for my performance, I need year over year actual numbers, not just emotions and feelings. Let's just pretend that you have that information. If you have that information, what it is that you need to do, what you have to go find out is, are you having less leads? Because remember, there's a formula. Leads times customers times margin times frequency equals growth potential. Okay, we did a training on that. Oh man, that might be a month and a half ago now. And you need to diagnose. In order to diagnose that, you have to ask all of the appropriate questions. Are you getting less leads, less inquiries, not less bookings, but just less inquiries? If you are getting the same number, but you're not getting more customers or the same number of customers, did you change your listings? Did you specifically on Booking.com? Did you change your policies? All of those little things will make a strong, serious, significant difference, and you have to look at it. And then you just go find the training, ask Dave, he can get you a copy. It's there. That's really where your answer is. How often do you use air purifiers in your units? I tried to buy one on Amazon, but I guess it's prohibited in California. I bought an old house and it has an old house smell. I just want to get rid of it before I go live. Got it. Anytime we have to deal with smoke and marijuana specifically, and sometimes some of the spices that people use to cook with can linger. So I use them as frequently as staff says that they need to be done. So when our cleaning crew goes in there and says, oh, this one's strong, we send the machine over there, clean it up, and do it again. Mike, will you review my listing? I cannot do it today, Mike. I wish you would have been here sooner, or I wish I would have seen this sooner. I would have been able to absolutely review your listing. All right, we have 2 more callers. Let's get these done. What button am I looking for? I'm looking for this button right here. Who is this? It is Alvarez in Texas. How are you, sir? Or ma'am? I don't know.
I'm pretty good, Mr. J. How are you?
I'm good. Let me see. I was just in Texas. It was a layover, but I was just in Texas. So let me see. It says you have 1 minute?
Yes. So pretty much I have a customer. I work at a dealership, and she sold me a car. She's doing bad. Well, I mean, I sold her a car. She's doing bad right now. So her house is actually up for eviction. Well, almost. She's just a little behind on the payment, and I agreed to help her with that, so she let me list her property on Airbnb, which she agreed on.
Got it.
It's a 3-bedroom home, so I think it's a good opportunity for me. She's not asking for anything down. She just want me to, help her get up ahead with the mortgage, and I can keep all the profit from it, which is great. Now, I watch your videos every morning, every time I'm on the way to work. I want to thank you for all the content you've been putting out, all the content. What I'm trying to figure out is what's the best way to market this home. Is it like rent out the bedroom privately, separate, or just rent out the entire home? I don't know how that works.
Got it. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. And it's going to sound like a sales pitch, but it's the truth and the most efficient way I can answer your question. Because here's the question that you're not asking that you should be asking. It's, who do you want to serve? Once you have answered, who do you want to serve, then the rest of that gets easy. Your next step, because you've watched a lot of the content, what I'm going to ask you to do is to go to cashflowdiary.com/star, STAR. It's a presentation there. It begins to explain the fundamental concepts of how to take any property and turn it into the asset that you are trying to help her with. All right? Because once you have answered, whom do you want to serve? Then, hey, do I do it on a per room? How do I divide the house? And is this floor plan even suitable? Because that's the first thing that's going through my head. Is this floor plan even suitable for that? because I just don't know. There's just so many questions, and I know it doesn't sound like there's a lot of questions right now, but there are. What's that?
I think so. It's suitable because it's weird how the house is set up. It already has a private room, so like at the front entrance, there's the front entrance door, and to the left, there's another door, and that's a private room right there. All you need, of course, is just a lock, and that's why I think it was suitable for it. Now, that's why the question popped up. I'm like, hey, or should I do this privately, and or should I just rent out the entire home?
And you may be right. However, before I would take that risk, I would want to know that I have a greater probability of right versus wrong, simply because I did the due diligence I could do to make sure. And like I said, the first step for you, in my opinion, is going to be to go to cashflowdiary.com/star, because
one more time for that website. I'm sorry,
say again?
One more time for that website. What can you spell it out for me one more time?
It's cashflowdiary.com/star. SAR. Okay.
Cashflowdiary.com.
Yep, cashflowdiary.com. So you heard me mention a number of times when I was talking to some of our existing students how I said module 1 this and mastermind that. That is specifically what I want you to pay attention to, because there's two things that's unique about your timing right now. Is this Saturday, for all of our newest mastermind students, I'm going to be spending 6 hours with them, and one of the first things we're going to spend about 2.5 hours on is helping all of them from across the globe understand very specifically for their own geographic area how to make that decision. We literally have a worksheet that breaks it down so that not only am I serving the right person, but I'm choosing the right floor plan in the right zip code all the way down to the street, just to make sure that I've given myself the highest probability of success. And that's the challenge. It's literally 3 worksheets is the answer to your question. And obviously we don't have that kind of time right now.
Okay. Well, perfect. I think that's it for me. And you got a lot of stuff to do. So, anybody ever told you sound like Jim Rome?
Say what?
Anybody ever told you sound like Jim Rome?
Wow. I take that as an awesome compliment. And no, I'm assuming you mean the language that I'm using, not my voice.
I think both, really.
Really? Wow. No one has ever said Jim Rome. Wow. Not at all. Not at all. I have studied his materials for sure, though. But man, that's awesome.
Exactly. I listen to him like at least once or twice a week, so that's why, your voice sounded just like him. I'm like, man, you sound like Jim Rome.
I do my best to learn from people who have been there, who have done that, and who can help people make transformation. And he has definitely done that. And no one has ever said that. You're the first for sure. Wow, thank you. Right. I appreciate it. So cool.
No problem.
We got one more caller to get to, but I definitely appreciate it. And Texas, just so you know, we have a gang of students in the Texas area, specifically Dallas, as well as Houston. Anyway, Texas. So it's a great to practice what it is that you're talking about. Cool.
Okay. Well, perfect. Thank you, Mr. J.
No problem. Talk to you soon. Bye. All right, we got, looks like Hawaii. Is this it? Yes, Hawaii is on the line. And Shelton, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, aloha, Jay.
Good. Hold on. It's like only like 2 in the afternoon or something, right? Wherever you are.
Yes, I'm. 2:30. I'm still at work.
I love it. Tell them you're talking. I'm talking business. I am. I really am. I'm working hard. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm just looking for your opinion on. So my situation here is I have my primary residence, and I just found out that I have like a little studio set up that I rent out, and I just found out that tenant is moving out. But I'm considering doing a short-term rental. Oh, hello?
I'm sorry. No, I think I know where this is going. I want to hear you ask it, though.
Okay, so my concern is this: my primary residence isn't in an area that we concentrated like the people we want to serve. So I'm like, how does Jay do this? Does he like just look at some other options? It's only because I was renting out so cheap that I'm like, I don't need to really list it for a very high price, but I don't know if it'll still be profitable, and like I'd have to totally switch who I'm trying to serve, and I still would have to figure out who would stay in the central area of Oahu. I mean, I'm sure there are, but it's so different from what we're doing with our first short-term rental.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally understood. And you're conflicted. You're like, I already have this property. It's right here. What should I do? Why would I not do this? But man, if I did this, it means all of these systems are going to be completely different. Blah, blah, blah. I got it. And always remember you're in Hawaii, so somebody wants to be there. So it's not, I don't think you're going to have that much of an issue. But it sounded like you said this is your primary residence. So you're going to be there a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I know that we have a number of students. Right now I'm thinking the two that come to mind is Shanna in Canada and John in South Carolina. Both of them have done this with part of their primary residence. So I would definitely tag them in the Facebook group and ask them their opinion of how it's been. The reason I never did it is because I was always concerned about my kids being, I would just feel, I don't know, it just did not sit with me comfortably, right? Now, that doesn't mean that there was an issue with it, because it sounds like you have a property or a second building on the same lot, so it's not necessarily connected or something of that nature, so that I don't think that's the issue. I think for you, the biggest issue is understanding that, it's a completely different system. And fundamentally, ever since I've been in the real estate game, from property number one, I made the decision I never, ever, ever wanted to be in a position in which the tenants could know I was the landlord. Ever. I don't see how you avoid that at that situation. And for me, those things make me personally uncomfortable. Now, I believe I also have a podcast. I want to think it's episode, oh man. Let me see if I can find it real fast. It's, what is her name? Sue Hoyela. I'm trying to, hold on. Let me see if I can find the episode number. If I can find it, I can tell you on the website which podcast it is, because this is like her world. Like, it's what she just likes doing it that way. And that's fine. I'm not built like that. So I just don't, I don't try to pretend like, as I've told many, many people, I'm just not that way when it comes to hospitality. I mean, my wife and I, we joke about this a lot, because it's like, hold on, you have a hospitality company, but do you like people? I'm like, yeah, that's a good question. Very funny. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah. Episode 320. Episode 320 of the podcast. Is where I was having that conversation with Sue. But yeah, that's definitely something I would think more about, that, because getting the systems and finding the cleaning crew and all that other stuff. Well, the cleaning crew could pretty much be the same. Some of your equipment is probably going to be different, meaning I don't know if you can put a king size bed in there or not. And you may have some of those things, but if you can get comfortable with that, because it sounds like you kind of reasonably are already, because you've already rented it out, then I don't see why not. I honestly don't see why not. Because, like you said, it's not going to cost you much to break even. So what you're really saying is, Jay, I have a unique opportunity to make a significant amount of profit for my family. Should I take it? Yeah. So, and the thing was, I'm like, well, if
if we can try it, if it doesn't work, then, we'll just go back and do a long-term rental. So that's what I'm kind of looking at it. Mm-hmm.
You in Hawaii, bro, it's going to work. The question is, are you comfortable with it? Really talk to your wife, talk to your kids. Are they comfortable?
Yeah.
If they're comfortable, it's not an if situation. You in Hawaii, there isn't a person watching right now who wouldn't take a ticket to Hawaii right now. Not one. And even if they don't go themselves, they'll take the ticket and sell it to somebody else so they can actually go where they want to go. Somebody wants to come to Hawaii, bro. So it's so not an issue. So not an issue.
Okay.
Okay? I hear you, but it's not an issue. It just really isn't. So.
All right. I got it.
Cool?
I got it. Yeah. Okay. Right on. Thanks,
man.
Jay. And then also one more thing. The only thing that's junk about Hawaii is Amazon shipping. We don't get all the perks like everybody in the mainland gets.
Yeah, and you know what?
Bed. Mm-hmm.
Oh, how much?
No, the bed that Ladaro them posted, they won't even ship it to Hawaii. I'm like, are you for real?
Yeah. We had the same issue with one of our students who was in Alaska because it had the same problem. It's like it was hard because he had to do all of his furniture and everything differently because it just had to be sourced more locally simply because of how difficult it was to send items there, so I understand.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but the trade-off is somebody always wants to be where you are, my friend.
All right.
Always.
All right.
Now, you live in a postcard like I do, so you're good. You're so good.
Okay, right on. Thanks, Jay.
No problem. I'll talk to you later.
Right.
Cool.
Right,
ladies, I'm going to check the Facebook group one more time, see if we have any more questions. I don't know that we do, and I will do my best to, let me see, how active? No, we answered that one. We got the air purifiers. We did that one. Mariella says, Jay, this Saturday is in person or live Facebook. I have a person who wants to join the group. Got it. Mariella, for all of the new students, what happens is that after they go through the cashflowdiary.com/star presentation, it'll give them an offer for the blueprint and the mastermind. So they have to purchase both. And then what'll happen is that customer service will reach out to them directly and give them a special invite. For this particular training, we actually use Zoom. So it's online. So I'm there live, but it is still online because the people are from all over the place. So yes, if they're going to join, now would be, again, it's a unique timing issue because it's not normal for me to say that and then this upcoming Saturday to be the time, but this upcoming Saturday is the time. So that's exactly how that would go down. What is this, Ladero? Okay, so Ladero, your winning points. He says, Jay, Jim, Roan, Maxie. That's pretty funny and awesome all at the same time. John says, I was scared to death to do it, but it's been awesome. Okay, I think he's referring to, so Shelton, this is John commenting about having someone, I think he uses his basement. So this is what he's saying. He's like, I was scared to death to do it, but it's been awesome. We found that people that stay in our home end up being overall more respectful than those staying in our other units. I believe it's their expectation. Cool. Sue Hoyela is awesome resource. We've spent many hours speaking with her. This is good. Glad to hear that. Marielle says, thank you. And it's the one unit that has made money every single month. No doubt, John, no doubt, because the cost is so low. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to hang out, even for, oh my gosh, I didn't see all this on YouTube. Oh man, let me run through this on YouTube. I don't want to leave anybody unanswered because that would suck. Hold on one second. Okay, let me go. Do you recommend operating from across the border? Myrna, I don't mind operating from across the border. The only reason, or not only, but the major reason I don't do it right now is because across the border for me is a language and legal system I do not yet speak or understand. I don't speak the language and I don't understand the legal system. Now, Canada is the other border I could think of that could work, because I do kind of understand their legal system. And, while I don't speak French, many of them do speak English. So that could work out for sure. But that's really the big thing. In fact, one of the reasons I started and even got interested in short-term rentals was because I was wanting international real estate, period. This was the play. This is the play to make that happen, whether that be a hotel or a villa or whatever you want to call them. So Crystal says, hi from Utah. How are you? Another question. Is it, Alvarez, you've already asked that. What is this? It says, hey, Jay, how would you approach a private money lender to invest in your short-term rental when you're just starting up? That's an interesting question. I have a very, very long answer to that, but I can tell you, and is it Sumayata? I'm guessing. I'm sorry. If I messed it up, I apologize. The first thing that came to my mind is if you're a student, there's a module specifically on financing and giving you some deal structures, but I'm going to assume you're not a student yet. So I'm going to refer you to a podcast episode that I recently did, in fact, that covers this very topic. So give me 1 second. I'm going to give you the episode number, Cashflow Diary, because this question, believe it or not, is another question that I get a lot. Oh, have we not published this one yet? There it is. Number 548, episode 548. It's the slicing pie model of funding your company. That is the title. Cashflow Diary podcast, episode 548. We go into that in detail. So that should hopefully help you. And if not, come back and ask more questions. All right, let me see. Do you recommend those 10 units in the same building as opposed to a newly acquiring one within the same year? I'm an apartment person by nature, so I prefer economies of scale, being able to function and build systems in close clusters. So yes, I prefer them to be in the same building, especially if those 10 units can even be, a significant portion of the entire unit at that particular complex. Let me see. Let's see. I'm a mastermind student, but I haven't gotten started yet. How do I access the 6-hour training this Saturday? Lisa, if you are a new student, just send a message to info@cashflowdiary.com. They will confirm your enrollment, and they should be able to get you the information for this Saturday. Let's see. Let me see. What is this one that says, I just got here. Can someone tell me how soon can you start an Airbnb? If the answer to that already. Got it. So I did, Chuck. And when you say how soon, I'm going to change that, because when you say how soon, I'm going to say today. But I think what you're really saying is like, how fast can I get it up and running? And that's going to come down to a function of systems and understanding. Now, the system that our students use and that we've trained people to use, you can go from lease signing to operation in about 72 hours or less, okay? Depending on the number of units and, et cetera. But if you're in position and you are prepared and you've got everything that we've said, it can be 72 hours. So, and we've done that many, 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 many times. So it doesn't have to take long. But I think that's the question you're actually asking. So, and sometimes, and again, I've heard of people taking 2, 3, 4 weeks to get it done, because that happens too when you don't know what you don't know. So, the answer was now. Exactly. Let's see. Lisa, another question here. It says, what are your thoughts on obtaining a real estate license to assist in doing short-term rentals, as well as having it to earn money selling houses? Got it. It's fine, except I prefer to stay focused on one thing, drive it deep before I go wide, right? So because you don't need a real estate license to do short-term rentals, unless for some reason you're going to be managing them on behalf of someone else, which is not something we necessarily talk about or teach. That's not to say some of our students don't do that. So you don't need it. So it's hard for me to understand how a real estate license, quote unquote, assists you in doing short-term rentals. Now, if you're just doing it because if you want to have a way to sell houses in real estate, okay, cool, that's fine. But that's why I said it's just two different things. So I don't think you need one to do the other. And they're not necessarily as easily complementary in this particular case. Now, that's not to say that there aren't people doing it, but if they are doing it, it's fundamentally because they don't have a lead generation system, and they are hoping by having a real estate license that's going to magically show up. When truly the answer is become a better entrepreneur, learn to generate your lead, and you won't need it. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, man, a lot of questions over here that I just totally missed. Crystal says, I agree. I have an apartment. I do short-term in my primate and have enjoyed it. Okay, so that's good. And I think I'm getting to the end. What are your thoughts about obtaining? Oh, no, I've already answered that one. So, okay, this is good. And Peter is saying exactly what is true. It's now o'clock. It's now o'clock because that's definitely the time to make things happen in. So, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for going longer than we normally go. So hopefully that actually isn't a bad thing. But in case it was for you, I'm sorry. And at the same time, I just want to make sure that we do everything that we can to assist anyone and everyone who is willing to go out there, make something happen for themselves and their family, and to build that business. So hopefully for those of you that are new students, I'll see you guys on Saturday. One more time, if you still want to join them, you can go to cashflowdiary.com/star. Make sure that you take advantage of the blueprint and the mastermind. Then you'll be invited for this Saturday's training for the 6 hours as well. And at the end of the day, if you don't do this, please do something. It's been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.